Okay, and it's loading up now. It will be live soon. And all right, there we are. We are live. And welcome everyone to episode 3 of the Chefathon. We have today Chef Bob Partrite of Simcoe Restaurants. And anyone who's been at Pier 39, you probably have been to one of his spots. It's amazing. And he'll tell us more about that. And then we also have Nicki, who is the director of marketing at Simcoe Restaurants. And yeah, so welcome. How are you two doing?
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being here. So let's go ahead and get started. I think, of course, everyone is always excited to here's a chef, right? What kind of food do you do? So I think, of course, the best thing to do, I'll screen share now. Best thing to do is to start saying, all right, what kind of recipes do you have? What kind of food do you do? So I'd like to start with something from a little earlier. This was a video that I'll play it on mute for now, but um, so the red chili garlic shrimp. And so I think about here. All right.
And herbs, a little salt, mix that up and spread it on our sourdough bread, little toast. So we're just gonna make a couple of these here. We're gonna coat them up with a good amount, probably a teaspoon and a half of butter on each side here. You really only need to grill one side. So we're gonna put that, you can put it in a saute pan, you can put it on a grill if you've got your grill going. While that's going, we're gonna start getting our dish ready. We posted online the recipe for the red chili shrimp. So you'll have the ingredient list there, you have the shopping list there, you can all make it at home. I'm gonna show you the technique and then you're on your own from there. So to make the dish, some basic ingredients: fresh chopped garlic, julienne cut onions and bell peppers, chopped basil, chopped cilantro, some chicken broth, some sambal oelek. You can find this in the Asian section of most grocery stores. Look for the Rooster sambal oelek, and it's the one that has the chopped, you can see like chopped peppers and the chilies in it. So it's a chunky sauce. It's got a real nice spice. It's an Indonesian condiment. And then we finish the dish off with a little butter. Other than that, it's a quick fire. So for our shrimp, when you're buying shrimp, the most important thing is to pick out something that's sustainably farm raised or caught in the wild. So the sustainably farm raised shrimp are challenging to find at times. Whole Foods Market does a really nice job of selling sustainable shrimp. Some of the other local markets, the Nugget does a very nice job as well. We use a white shrimp from Indonesia that has a certification from the BAP, and it's rated by Monterey Bay Aquarium as sustainably raised shrimp. We're going to check our crostinis.
All right. So why I want to play that, part of it is because, everyone can see the ingredients involved. They can see a bit of what you're about to do. And then anyone who's saying, wait, what about the recipe? It'll be in the video description. We'll pull it up again in a bit on screen share. But I really want to jump in and, from the start, really highlight something that you're not just running Fog Harbor Fish House, which is one of the most popular restaurants in San Francisco. It's also a big deal to me that you're highly committed to sustainable efforts.
Yeah.
So where you mentioned, for example, the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch, I guess in general, where did all this come from for you? The efforts to be sustainable. How'd you find out about their seafood watch? What is there that the average person can do to be more sustainable?
Good question. Very long answer. So being that we're on Pier 39, one of our neighbors is the Aquarium of the Bay. And the Aquarium of the Bay is kind of in partnership with the Monterey Bay Aquarium as a northern branch, so to speak. they follow the Seafood Watch program guidelines with the way they care for their animals and the education that they use in the aquarium. So the Aquarium of the Bay had a team of educational environmentalists that would go out to restaurants and try and teach them about sustainability and looking at their menu and helping them convert from, items that were not sustainably raised or caught in the wild, and switch it over to items that were a better choice. So the Seafood Watch program is like a stoplight, right? They have a green, yellow, and red system. Green being best choice, yellow, eat with caution, and red being avoid. So when you're buying seafood from the Monterey Aquarium Seafood Watch program, you want to try and strive for the green. And if you can't get green, you want to go for yellow, but we don't buy any red. We avoid it. So it took us about 3 years. It was about a 3-year process of working with the people at the aquarium and really searching out items that met our quality standards. Just because it's sustainable doesn't mean it's good. That we found that there was a lot of stuff out there that was okay for us to use, but the quality just wasn't there. It wasn't available all year round. It wasn't available fresh because we only use fresh fish. So some of it was only frozen. So we really struggled at times finding something that fit our needs and fit with what we were trying to do as a business as well. Because, bottom line is it's still a business, but we also wanted to make this step towards sustainability.
Yeah.
Again, it took about 3 years. I think we started it back in about 2009, 2010. And we slowly started changing menu items out and finding, we did lots of tastings, and shrimp was one of the hardest. Shrimp and salmon were the two hardest things to convert over. We use tons and literally tons and tons of seafood, monthly in our company. So it was a really big deal to us to make this changeover and, kind of switch the menu from having red items to all green and yellow items.
Yeah, and I think where you mentioned the red, yellow, green system, I thought it was interesting how you're saying, it could be green but not taste good. And I think probably for most people like myself, we're just thinking, well, if it's food, it's food. It probably tastes good. And you're saying no. There's a lot of research and preparation. I guess what are some of the, I guess, how has the environment affected all the seafood recently? We have warmer waters, and climate or not climate control, climate change has been just insane. So how have those things affected the industry?
Well, it definitely affects the fisheries. I mean, certain fisheries are getting affected by the climates and the depleting the fish and species are getting harder and harder to get, and there's not an abundance of them out there. Our local crab season is affected every year by they don't let them go crabbing anymore until they delay it until the whale migration's over. So there's lots of things going on out in the ocean that's starting to have different effects on the different species, right? But the biggest thing is the more people that purchase sustainable seafood and demand restaurants and demand grocery stores to carry sustainable seafood, the people that are out there fishing in a negative way are going to stop because they're not going to be able to sell their product anymore. If they're using a dredge to, pick up stuff off the ocean floor, and they're, destroying all the coral and the plankton and all the different, anemones and things at the bottom of the floor and all the wildlife, people aren't going to buy that product anymore, and they're not going to be able to fish like that. So what our job is to buy things that is not disrupting any other species in the ocean. And that's kind of what the program's all about. It's how can we buy seafood that is farmed or caught wild that doesn't disrupt or hurt any other species. It's more targeted, right? You're going after a specific thing, and there's not a lot of bycatch, and it's not like a long line where they have miles of line and they're catching sea turtles and dolphins and sharks and just clipping them off and throwing them back in the water and they're dead, right? So we don't use anything that's caught like that. We're very, very, very picky when it comes to where we get things from, because certain countries of certain species that are caught in certain countries have no regulations and there's no modern monitoring of that. Therefore, there's probably a lot of things damaged with the fishing of that. So
yeah.
When it comes to not tasting it, I'm going to correct you. You kind of said not tasting good. It's not that it necessarily doesn't taste good. It's just we found, like, example, shrimp. When we started getting some green rated and yellow rated shrimp in, they just didn't have the good proper texture, and the flavor was off, and it didn't have a nice crisp snap, like a nice, a good shrimp has that nice bite to it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the shrimp we found that fit the program's criteria was soft. It was mushy. It didn't have as good of a texture. It still tasted like shrimp, and so it was tasty in a way that, flavor profile, but it's just, there was a lot of different things involved when it comes to selecting things for the menu. We want it to be sustainable. We want it to taste good. We want it to texture good. We want it to look good. And so it wasn't as simple as, oh, that's a green shrimp, okay, we'll buy that. Or, oh, that's a green salmon, we're going to buy that. It had to kind of look, feel, and taste properly to fit with our guidelines.
Yeah, that's the expert eye saying, all right, what's good, what's good enough. And I'm sure before the pandemic, when people were able to visit Pier 39, they definitely appreciate knowing that when they stop by one of your many restaurants, Fog Harbor Fish House, for example, Biscoff Coffee Corner, Wipeout Bar and Grill, and then you have a few others. Two of the new ones. There's Eagle Cafe, and I'm sorry if I'm leaving any out. Nicki, what are the other two I'm leaving out?
Crab House, and then Pure Market Seafood Restaurant. I'm not sure if you mentioned that one.
Okay, and I can't believe I left out Crab House, because I was telling you in a previous call when we were preparing for this episode that I was there with some friends, and I had the 2-pound crab, and we just absolutely demolished it. And so when I found out, when we were reaching out, hey, chefs, charities, who wants to work on this? And, it's like, yeah, here's Chef Bob. And I'm like, wait, I've been to his spots. I know his food. First as a tourist, when I was in college, I took a spring break trip out once, and then eventually, started moving west. And then when I lived in Hayes Valley in San Francisco, I was doing iOS, and sometimes I go up to Pier 39, just like, oh yeah, it's nice to walk around. And so yeah, I think not just me, anyone who has that experience, whether you're from San Francisco or you visited, I think we're all glad to say, all right, we can enjoy all this food and know that it's part of the sustainability efforts that you've implemented in all your restaurants. And I think it's one of those things. Pier 39 is world famous. I guess, Nicki, you mentioned before that your family, I believe in 1978, first started opening these restaurants, right? So do you mind taking us back a bit? Kind of what's the background, what's going on there?
Oh, yeah. So my grandfather actually was the creator of Pier 39. Wow. My dad physically labored, did jackhammering and whatnot to help get it built. And then since then, they've sold the pier, but they had restaurants as well. The first was that's still standing as Pure Market Seafood Restaurant, which was 1983, I think. And had a burger place and all the different stuff. My siblings and I all had our first jobs there as a hostess or a busboy or whatnot. And since we've grown to 5 restaurants and a coffee shop.
Man, that's amazing. Yeah, and
that's fun. Good times.
Yeah, the cool thing about Biscoff Coffee Corner is, for me, every time I get on a plane, I'm always thinking, man, these cookies are awesome. And then I find out, wait, there's a Biscoff restaurant right there on Pier 39. I'm getting on the plane to get these.
That was a fun project.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then, so going back to Fog Harbor, earlier we showed a video of you talking about the the red chili garlic shrimp. We'll include the recipe in the video description, so anyone who wants to cook, feel free to check it out. We'll put it in there and you'll be able to follow along. There's another video I'd like to pull up. I'm going to share my screen. This one is this one looks amazing.
How to make pumpkin bread pudding. Sugar, cinnamon, nutmeg, and baking soda. The pumpkin, cream, eggs, rum, and vanilla. Pour in, cover, bake, cut, top. Yum.
All right, so it says in there bake for 60 minutes. My question is, how long does everything else take? Because I would love to eat that as soon as I'm done with this.
That's a quick one. It's pretty quick to put together.
Yeah, and everyone can see the recipe is also online. Same thing.
Yeah.
We'll include that in the.
That's an easy one. You mix the dry, you mix the wet, you mix it all together, you put it in a pan, and in the oven it goes.
Oh man.
Yeah, we always look forward to the holiday season because every October comes around, the pumpkin bread the pumpkin bread pudding and the pumpkin curry salmon come on the menu. So those are a couple of the favorites every year.
Yeah. And of course, we all know anything that works, October, November, Thanksgiving, it also works for Christmas. So,
Sure does.
Perfect timing and add some holiday warmth, why not?
Yeah, that's a good one.
So I guess, with that, as a seafood restaurant, where do you start to say, okay, what kind of items do we add that isn't seafood? Because obviously you don't want to just say, oh, you can only do seafood, but
Right.
I imagine on some level, there's also a bit of, well, this is a great item, but that fits with a different kind of cuisine better. How do you go about picking these things?
So when it comes to protein, I mean, yes, we are primarily seafood restaurants, but we know that there's lots of guests out there that are coming to see us that are part of a party of 4 or a party of 6 that, one person might not want seafood. So we do take that into consideration. Yeah. I mean, you got to have a chicken, you got to have a steak, you got to have a vegetarian, and maybe 2 different versions of each one. So one of our concepts is the Pier Market is a seafood restaurant primarily, but we have a smoker. We smoke our own ribs. We do our own pulled pork, and we've got a big mesquite grill, and we grill steaks and chickens on it as well. But 90% of the menu is seafood. Yeah. And Fog Harbor is the same. We do a chicken pasta. We do a couple different grilled steaks. We do chicken as well. So I mean, we have everyone. We our goal is to have something for everyone with staying in the concept, right? Yeah. And just really highlighting seafood because of where we are and what our guests are coming for, but taking in mind that we want to be able to have something for everyone. And we do get a lot of people that come and say, oh, I don't eat fish, or I don't eat seafood. Well, we have this for you. We have that for you.
On behalf of one of my best friends from college, I'd like to thank you because senior year, we'd go off campus every Friday. We have a little more time. We go, pick a restaurant. And one weekend, we can't decide where to go. And he finally says, we're all arguing. And he says, well, I want to go to Red Lobster, so I'm going. And you can come along if you want or not. Okay, fine. We'll just go. So we get there. There's 4 of us, 5 of us maybe. I don't know. We're ordering and stuff like, all right. So, you know what? I think I'll go ahead and get some shrimp. Andy says he wants some crab. Someone gets lobster. And the person who said he wanted to get Red Lobster, he's still looking through the menus, trying to decide. And we're thinking, well, I mean, we're waiting for you. What do you want? He's like, I'm going to get the chicken. What? I was talking about going to get some fried chicken. He was talking about getting some, burgers. And you say go to Red Lobster. You want chicken at Red Lobster?
That's funny.
Hey, like you said, sometimes people show up and they want something else. And I think, of course, some people, it's a bit of the, I like the atmosphere. It's not just the food, it's the atmosphere. So, for you, a lot of Pier 39, you have great views of the bay. Depending on which way you're facing, you have the bay, You could
We
see
do.
Treasure Island. You could see, I think you can see Angel Island. I know everyone can see Alcatraz, or the sea lions right outside. So it just kind of depends on, a lot of it's the atmosphere. It's not just the food.
Yeah, all of our restaurants luckily have windows facing the Golden Gate Bridge, so you
Yeah,
do have Golden Gate Bridge, Bay, and Alcatraz views from many of our seats in the dining rooms.
yeah. It's great.
It's pretty
And
spectacular.
yeah, I think one thing to we can show the surf and turf. Um, so this looks amazing. All right. So
That's beautiful,
everyone,
beautiful dish.
yeah, I'd like to remind everyone that currently San Francisco has a bit of a lockdown in order. So please don't try to break down the doors of the restaurant. Nicki, I believe you said that people can order, right?
So we're open through tomorrow night, Sunday, December 6th. And then after that, some of our restaurants, they'll be able to order for takeout.
All right. So everyone, if you visit simcoerestaurants.com, there's going to be more information. But part of this is we do want to kind of show everyone, hey, here's some memories of better times while we get through this pandemic together. But there's a lot of videos on your YouTube channel, not just that one, but a lot of the surf and turf. I've always wondered who came up with the idea of surf and turf, right? How do you even figure out, does beef go with shrimp, or is it crab and chicken, or how do you figure that out?
I didn't come up with it, so I don't know. It does work though. One of my favorites is ribeye with scallops, some nice jumbo seared scallops, and a nice ribeye steak is just one of the best combinations. But we sell a lot of surf and turf. That video that you showed was a special that we've been running for the last 6 weekends. We do it on weekends only. It's like a 24-ounce bone-in ribeye tomahawk steak with grilled shrimp on it. It's just been a big hit. It's a really fun dish to cook, and really looks good. And people just have a ball with it. Takes great pictures, and it tastes really good too.
Yeah, it just sounds amazing. And honestly, I can't wait to be back in San Francisco once all this is over. And I think, it's really interesting to me when we talk about seafood, kind of going back to, you're talking about sustainability and all that. Like I said, I had never really thought about sustainability. I I just kind of thought food is food. And
Yeah.
And for years you've been implementing the system. And I think it's really interesting that you've gone on with recipes. People can now say, okay, I have more awareness of how I can shop sustainably. Some people might be hearing for the first time the way things are caught. There is a difference, a trawler versus, here's a line that drags and stuff. Your recipes, that's helping people say, okay, here are ingredients, how do I cook? And for anyone who, for this winter, it's harder to go out. Yeah, if you get some groceries, how do you cook? Here's some great recipes. It's healthy and all that. I guess it seems like it's not just efforts for sustainability. It's also a little bit related to the charity that you've decided to support called World Central Kitchen. Part of what they do, there's something called the Food Resiliency Program, which is, if they deliver fresh produce boxes, it helps people just, how do I cook healthy? I guess it seems like that's something that you've started doing by saying, here's recipes, teach people how to shop responsibly. They can, how do they cook it? So it's responsible, it's sustainable, and it tastes good.
Yeah, and we've always had a few recipes, but when we got fully shut down and in the beginning of the pandemic, we were really trying to figure out we couldn't even access our premises. They like locked us off. So we were kind of like, how can we stay connected to our community and our guests? And so we really stepped up the different recipes, and knowing that people were also home and kind of like either bored of what they were cooking or maybe wanted the dishes that they would normally come eat when we were open. So yeah, that was really fun, and got to do it from our own home kitchens.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think one of the amazing things is we talk about sustainability and all that, and I kind of want to before we get into some more stuff, I kind of want to mention something that I found out recently. So earlier you mentioned the texture, flavor of shrimp and all that. When I visited Iceland with my parents a few years ago, I found out that they've been trying to research, kind of the same thing, sustainable but really high quality. And I think coming from France or something, there's this grading system for oysters, right? There's grade A, grade B, grade C. And I think for that one, it's more referring to how clean it is, because shellfish, oysters are shellfish, and the way they eat and all that, there are some impurities. Where in Iceland, they figured out how to farm grade A large oysters, because what happens is in the Arctic waters, it's much cleaner. So the oysters up there, they're going to be a lot cleaner. But then because the water's so cold, they're smaller, and they found a way to say, all right, here's a lot of natural geothermal activity. How do we combine that with the Arctic waters around Iceland? I was wondering if you had heard about this, if that's similar, if that plays a role with shrimp and some of the seafood that you do regularly.
Not specifically, but there's some really amazing stuff that these labs are doing out there, and testing whether it's waters, temperatures, and breeding, and harvesting things in a controlled environment. And they're really making some great strides on coming up with some great products and being able to raise them super clean, like in recirculating in above ground systems, or whether it's a man-made pond, and coming up with vegetarian fish food to create a super clean trout, like McFarland Springs trout. They have vegetarian feed, and it's all recirculating waters, so it's a super clean trout, right? So it's in that same genre. I think what you're saying, I don't know about those oysters specifically, but there is definitely a lot of things that people are doing to create clean seafood, and doing it in a way that's not interfering or putting any water back into the environment that might be contaminated with antibiotics or things like that.
All right. Yeah, I think it's just amazing for me. I feel like every time I talk to you or Nicki, I'm finding out more about sustainable seafood, because, like I said, I just didn't really know about this. I grew up inland, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas. So mostly to me, seafood is just whatever, it's something I do when we visit the coast, or my mom mentions, oh, she got this or that. And not a lot of thought going through my mind other than, oh, it tastes good. So, thank you for telling us all this. I really appreciate learning this. And it's great for everyone to know that they can still access a lot of their favorite foods by going to the website. There's the recipes, the YouTube videos, and all that will be in the video description. Anyone who wants to follow along, feel free, it'll be there. So let's go ahead and shift a bit towards, Simcoe restaurants. There's always been this emphasis on sustainable efforts. When you first started talking about the charity you want to work with, when you mentioned World Central Kitchen, I was pretty curious about this, because I've helped out at homeless soup kitchens and stuff like that before, maybe once in a while. But then finding out here's an organization that helps a lot in general with just here's communities that need help, right? in disaster areas or, you know, healthcare professionals during this pandemic, which is the specific area that you want to target. And I think the best thing to do, honestly, is they have a video that I can play. So I'm going to screen share, and here it is.
We're coming together.
This is Sophia. I'm in West Baltimore.
Hi, this is Ian, checking in from Detroit.
Soy Carlos Tejedor. Ya estamos en Barcelona.
Carmen. Yo Carmen también.
Good morning from Tuba City here in the beautiful Navajo Nation.
We, the people of America, of Spain, of the world.
Hi, this is Emily with World Central Kitchen, and I'm in Seattle, Washington.
Chef Amir here in Newark.
James in Oakland, California.
To serve our neighbors, our families, our communities.
Virginia Beach, Detroit, Michigan.
Balikpapan, Indonesia. Tijuana, Mexico.
Lamont, California.
Christy checking in from Chicago.
San Juan, Puerto Rico.
We're recording at the New Mexico Santa Fe outpost of the World Central Kitchen.
Together, we are working with the urgency of now. We are feeding people in need, putting restaurants back to work. Each of us, each and every one of us has a role to play.
Les habla Andrés Vega at World Central Kitchen, Venezuela.
Lori in Little Rock.
Hey, this is Akeem checking in from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hi, I'm Tank. We're out here in Long Beach. This is Imani, checking in from New York, New York.
Molly Moore coming to you live from Nats Park.
Hi, this is Whitney checking in from Nashville.
Working together, we will get through this.
Here we are in Southern California.
From New Orleans.
We are driving through East Baltimore.
The road ahead will not be easy, but we, the people, are strong. Stronger than this virus, stronger together. And don't forget, people, always wear a mask. I am Jose Andres, and I endorse this message.
All right. So yeah, that's a little bit of what World Central Kitchen does for anyone watching out there. And you know, going back to you, Chef Bob, when you mentioned you know, you're saying you want to work with them for this episode. One thing that stood out to me is you really want to support the healthcare professionals in San Francisco. And for me, having lived there recently, having been there many times, you know, we're all aware of what they're doing in the city to help out. And yeah. I guess, do you have any personal stories you'd like to share regarding that? Or, you know, is it just something that you've always enjoyed helping with? Just what led to this?
With the World Central Kitchen?
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I just stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we really love what they're about and what they're doing, how they're so involved with supporting people that are in need, whether, you know, whatever it may be. But with that being said, they're supporting people in need, but they're also supporting our fellow restaurateurs. You know, they help pay restaurants for the meals that they cook and donate to the communities during difficult times. So it's, you know, they're helping the people that are in need, but they're also helping these businesses that are also in need. So it's kind of a twofer, right? So, it's just kind of being that we're in the restaurant business, and, you know, our job is to feed people, not quite on their level, but it's the same type of thing. So it's people helping people, like the video said, but it does it in two parts, right? They're helping the people that are hungry, and they're also helping these businesses that are struggling right now to keep their doors open. So, yeah, you know, the business restaurants are able to pay their employees because they're able to sell the food to the World Central Kitchen, who's donating the food to the people that are in need. So it really struck me as a great cause, and there's so many people that are in need right now, and this one kind of helps the people that are hungry, as well as my fellow restaurateurs that are really struggling right now as well.
Yeah, and for me and you being big time fans of the Golden State Warriors and the San Francisco 49ers, we also are aware that a great analogy you can pull from sports is even during the off season, you want to maintain that team chemistry. You want to maintain the skill level of your staff, your players, your personnel, because when it's time to go, game time, you want them to be able to operate at the highest level. So whether it's for me saying, oh man, I can't wait to eat more 2-pound crab, or right now saying, how can we support all these people in communities that are suddenly cut off from the food they used to have access to?
Right.
To be able to say, let's keep these restaurants going, let's keep the staff there so that when we're back to normal, we can enjoy the same experiences because they know how to create that for us.
Yeah.
The atmosphere of me saying, I'm going to go to Fog Harbor Fish House and get chicken, but I love the atmosphere, for example.
Right.
Of course, if my friend shows up, I'll say, no, this time we're definitely getting seafood. You're not getting chicken there.
The
But
chicken is really good though.
Yeah.
which, yes, it is very good. It is very good. I'm just saying, Jehu, when we go there, we're getting chicken at a place that doesn't do seafood.
Fair enough.
But then, Jehu, if you want the pumpkin bread pudding, yeah, go for it. So
yeah.
I think, yeah, it's amazing. And some of the stats that I found or gotten from World Central Kitchen. So just reminding everyone, since the beginning of the pandemic, which for various places, it could be a lot of different dates, but for the US, our national emergency declaration was on March 13th. So, we're almost exactly 9 months after. So in Oakland, World Central Kitchen has served 3.55 million meals. So 3,550,000 meals. And that includes restaurant meals, produce boxes, and meal distributions. And their program called Restaurants for the People, which Chef Bob, you mentioned, they purchase and distribute meals. So that feeds communities, it keeps the hospitality staff employed. And more than $130 million has been invested back into the restaurant industry. And then for the Oakland restaurants specifically, World Central Kitchen has 115 active restaurant partners. From there, they've served 2.15 million restaurant meals, and that's $21.5 million that have gone back to independently owned Oakland restaurants and small caterers. And of course, with the fresh produce boxes, that's where we can say, hey, everyone, visit fogharbor.com, check out the recipes and cook along. If you miss the stuff that Chef Bob does, hey, make it at home. And in fact, Chef Bob, you made the red chili garlic shrimp for your wife's 50th birthday. So it's a bit of, hey, Chef Bob's not in our kitchen, honey, but you know what is his recipe?
Red chili garlic shrimp.
Yeah. So,
awesome.
Yeah, I guess as we start to wrap up, I would like to point out one more thing. So the food resiliency programs, the deliveries and stuff like that. I recently became aware of a concept called the food desert. And basically that just means, people within a certain radius, they can't get food from groceries or even fast food restaurants. And I just want to say, I love that you're saying you have these YouTube videos saying, this is why I use this ingredient. It's sustainable, but also here are recipes online. So now you can shop responsibly and you can cook and eat healthy and enjoy what you put in front of you. So, I think, it's great that you're doing that. That's a lot of why you want to partner with World Central Kitchen. And, I guess just in closing, everyone, please check out the video description. You can donate to Chef Bob's fundraising page. All the money goes straight to World Central Kitchen, and it's going to reinvest into the restaurants that make the meals. So then World Central Kitchen can send that to people in need, people in food deserts, places that have become food deserts because restaurants have shut down. This will help your favorite restaurants stay active, or at least be able to keep people employed so they can come back when it's safe. And this will really help a lot of people who can't access the food. They can't go and buy stuff and use the recipes. They can get the food delivered out to them. Chef Bob, Nicki, just want to see, is there anything you want to throw in? Do you want to add anything before we sign off?
No, just, my sustainable mission is continue to teach people to ask questions, ask where it's from, ask how it's caught, ask where it's raised, ask how it rates in the Seafood Watch program. Ask if it's sustainable. The more people that keep that conversation going with their butchers or their restaurants, the more people are going to start buying those things, right? If we don't all do our part, the fish is going to go away. There's not going to be fresh seafood out there. The fisheries are going to die. They're going to go away because they're going to be overfished and they're going to be depleted. So everyone needs to do their part in demanding, better fishing methods and, cleaner aquaculture.
Yeah. And Nicki, is there anything you'd like to add?
Anything I'd like to add? Stay tuned for more recipes coming soon.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and we'll include all that in the video description. So anyone who's watching, if you don't see it there, we'll add it soon. Definitely, we hope everyone is staying healthy. Hopefully, the recipes help you stay sane, have some fun. That pumpkin bread pudding, perfect time of the year, right? So
it is.
Yeah. So yeah, if there's anything that if anyone's thinking, how can I help? I had a great time on this episode, and there's some people who are struggling. How can I help out? Video description, check that out. We have donation links for Chef Bob's fundraising page. You're also definitely welcome to reach out to World Central Kitchen at wck.org and volunteer. If you're in an area that needs help, feel free, reach out. And obviously for all of us, we hope that everyone who's doing well during this pandemic, please consider donating. Every dollar helps. You're not just feeding people who are in food deserts or need help. You're also keeping your favorite restaurants and hospitality staff employed, so that when the pandemic is over, when it's safe to go out again, you're trying to say, I want to visit Fog Harbor again. You're going to get the same experience again. You're going to have the same great views, the same great food. Also, with Chef Bob's commitment to sustainability efforts, you're going to know that what you're eating it's good for the environment, it's good for yourself, and it's helping change the conversation and the emphasis on sustainable seafood efforts. So Chef Bob, Nicki, thank you so much for your time. Really enjoyed you. If there's anything you'd like to add, please feel free to do that.
Thank you. No, thank you very much for having us. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for your time. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And everyone watching, have fun, stay safe, enjoy the food, enjoy the recipes.